Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking the video and subscribing to the channel are free and easy for you, and they help me out a lot. If you want to go further with your support, Patreon and YouTube membership offer access to the BoshNRoll Discord community, early access to lists, written content, things like that. You can have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use YouTube membership, you also get sweet badges and emotes integrated here into YouTube. You can support the channel while you shop at tcgplayer.com by using my affiliate link in the video description, and you can play any deck anytime by using a cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. If you want to wear your support, check out the merch store. And of course, thanks for being here. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome to another BoshNRoll Legacy video. Today at the request of Patreon subscriber Kevin, I am playing his Jeskai Stoneblade list. This is a deck we worked on together in a coaching session. It was a lot of fun to brew up trusty old Stoneforge Mystic mid-range fair blue. This is a deck I have a lot of experience with before Oko, before Uro, back before Legacy shifted in War of the Spark. Stoneforge Mystic was entirely my jam, and we're here to explore it again. We're at a phase of Legacy development where the control decks are just so hungry for powerful spells that their mana bases are exploitable, and that's why Stoneblade gets to sneak in because it's a back-to-basics deck. It's a deck that can easily support back-to-basics, easily beat a Blood Moon, really ignore Wasteland along the way. This deck has great mana, and that's what we're leaning into here. The only change I made from the submitted list that Kevin sent me, because we did a lot of work on it together before he actually sent the official one, is I added a Lion Sash to the main deck. I don't know if this is good. It is a tool that Stoneforge Mystic now has available to it. Being able to tutor up Scavenging Ooze in a white deck is good in some matchups. Like, this is really going to help the Uro matchups. And it's a little slow for broken graveyard matchups, but you need something like this to really shut the door against Reanimator. Like, if you force of will two things in your opening hand and both players are top decking, that sort of board state actually does favor the Reanimator player unless you have some sort of absolute hammer to drop on them. And Lion Sash gives you that kind of hammer. No idea if it's ultimately worth the spot in the metagame. Do you need main deck graveyard hate? Who knows, but I am going to try it. Almost free to do. To make room for Lion Sash, there were two back-to-basics in the main, which Kevin and I talked about, and I think that's overkill. Right? There are enough matchups where back-to-basics isn't good that it really gums up opening hands, or even like mid-game top decks can be ruined by a back-to-basics if it's not a card you actually want in the matchup. I do like having two in the list. I tucked that in the sideboard, and I cut one of the 3 meltdowns for it. 3 meltdown is a lot. Kevin and I talked about that too, and Kevin just like really hates losing to 8 cast and Urza Saga decks. And there's 2 dress down, 2 back to basics, and 2 meltdown, and another dress down in this 75. There's still a lot of hate for Urza Saga and and constructs and that sort of thing without 3 meltdowns. So just move those around. Got a Lion Sash in the deck. Outside of that, lots of basic lands, stable mana. Back to basics is a hammer in some matchups. We got Narset, Teferi, and Jace in high numbers. There are 3 Jace the Mind Sculptors in this deck, like it's 2015, and I'm pretty excited about that. That was one of the first things I asked Kevin about when I saw the list. I was like, 3's a lot of Jace. And apparently that's something that the Stoneblade Discord has been working on, the number of Jaces, and they have really strong opinions about like whether 2 or 3 is the right number. And it has been my experience playing Stoneforge decks in recent years that you fall off in the late game. Like, Stoneforge Mystic never just goes coast to coast anymore. 4 years ago, you could play Stoneforge Mystic like Delver of Secrets. Like, you just cast it on turn 2, force a will the removal spell, put in Batterskull, and just ride. That doesn't happen anymore. Prismatic Endings in the format, Uro's gaining life, hitting land drops. Cards are just more powerful now, and even if Batterskull attacks 3 or 4 times, maybe they just remove it then, bounce it with Teferi after they take 8 from it, and now they're stable. There's like a lot of reasons that Stoneblade doesn't keep up in Fair Blue Mirrors anymore, and having 3 Jace really just hammers home that weakness of the deck. No matter how times change, Jace the Mind Sculptor going unchecked in a Fair Blue Mirror is going to win the game. Like, that is not something that has changed that much. Getting Jace into play is a little trickier, but if you get it there on a stable board, it's staying. And I really like the theory of topping out at Jace, because the point of a Stoneblade deck is to check their answers. Like turn 2, here's Stoneforge Mystic, I've tutored up Kaldra, you need to answer this now or you're dealing with the Kaldra token next turn. And if you do deal with it now, I'm up a card. Like Kaldra is not really a card, not for a long time, but it is a physical magic card for the purposes of Brainstorm. Like Stoneforge Mystic, tutor up Kaldra, they remove Stoneforge Mystic, you cast Brainstorm, shuffle away your Kaldra. You're up a card on that exchange, and these just slow 2-for-1s. Snapcaster Mage is a 2-for-1, Dress Down frequently a 2-for-1. Narset could be a 3-for-1, Teferi's a 2-for-1 right away. We're just trying to 2-for-1 the opponent until they're out of gas, and now there's 3 Jaces to just mop up at the top end. I really like that, and I hope it bears out in practice the way that it makes sense in theory. There's not a lot to extrapolate on here. This is a Stoneblade deck. We're trying to play a 2-for-1 game. I got a Lion Sash in here. We'll keep an eye on that one throughout the league, and let's jump in. I'm on the play for round 1. This is a snap keep. We're doing it. It doesn't get basic planes, like drawing the Volcanic Island kind of sucks in game 1, because the main deck is Azorius. The red is just a 3rd color for Prismatic Ending and a bunch of sideboard cards. You don't really want to see Volcanic Island game 1, but I'm not going to send a hand back based on that. And this hand is lined up to do exactly what I talked about. We play Stoneforge Mystic, get a card off it, they kill it, I can Brainstorm. I could Brainstorm and play another... Oh, we're playing against a combo deck. Alright, I am going to... I think I need to let this resolve. If they take the Force, then I still have Brainstorm. If they take the Brainstorm, then I have a chance to draw a blue card. Alright, they just took the Force. I would kind of rather have the Brainstorm, honestly. Alright, that just changed the texture of this matchup. The slow 2-for-1 grind is not really what we're looking for anymore. Now we are trying to defeat our opponent quickly. I guess I could just slam Stoneforge and bet. I'm actually going to do that. Like, main deck Duress. Who does that? Is that Doomsday? Yeah, I'm just going to try to put a clock on them. I'm going to get Kaldra and just hope that they can't go off right now, because I think settling into a control game is a mistake. Maybe they just kill me right now. Maybe they have the turn 1 Duress, turn 2 kill you. Or maybe by passing the turn, I give them all the time they need to make this happen. Let's go. A Duress is a weird one. That is a very specific discard spell for a specific deck that cares about specific things. I guess this could be Ad Nauseam Tendrils. They care about their life total and don't really care about creatures. My guess is Ad Nauseam Tendrils, or maybe like a kind of wonky Doomsday list. Alright, Thoughtseize. Let's see if they take Brainstorm or Kaldra. That'll tell me a lot about their hand. They took Brainstorm. Okay, so they have the win set up. They just need to get through my protection. And yeah, do I Brainstorm now? Do I continue the... I'm going for aggro. Just put them to the test and make them have it. I'm not going to play the Prismatic Vista. That gives them perfect information. And just confidently slamming my creature into play. This reduces their life total for Ad Nauseam, reduces their life total for post-Doomsday World. And just confidently slamming my thing when they know I could have cantripped might bluff some strength that I don't actually have. Whether we end up winning or losing this game, the Stoneforge Mystic plan, being able to just jam this 2-drop that represents massive output of damage against a combo deck, is not something that any other blue deck in the format can do. Well, Delver. When I say blue deck throughout this league, I mean the like mid-range, Bant, Jeskai, the Hull Breachers, the Uros, that sort of stuff. Delver, obviously. Like, we're kind of doing a Delver impression right now with this particular curve out, which is the space that Stoneforge Mystic occupies. It's that space in between Uro, which is a multi-turn 7-mana grind fest. Even if it arrives quickly, it's not going to happen on turn 3. And you're never going to have a 1-drop in this deck, but you do have a threatening 2-drop. As always, I'm going to edit out the dead air, but my opponent is deep in the tank right now. Their clock is just ticking away. They're in the 20-minute range. I'm at 23 and change, so they've spent like a full 3 minutes thinking right now. Okay. They seem to have determined the line. Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal. This could still be Doomsday or Storm. I hope they have to commit to an ad nauseum if it's Storm, and I hope they can't win right now if it's Doomsday. But they're dead if they don't win right now. Oh, it's an incomplete Infernal Tutor line. Okay, if their last card in hand is a Tutor or Past in Flames, we're dead. They do have to pick blue or red mana to operate with this game. They can't have both based on what they have. Right. They left red floating. If they have Past in Flames, okay, yeah, that works too. Yeah, a Tutor or a Past in Flames there were both good enough. So they Tutor for Past in Flames. They cast Past in Flames, then they Ritual, Infernal Tutor for Tendrils. Yeah. That's a pretty clean line to think that hard about. But that's okay. Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Infernal Tutor. Storm is many. Ha! They missed with the Duress. Got him. There's not really reason to Duress there. If I could have countered a spell, it would have been the second Infernal Tutor. When they were hellbent and had nothing going on. Ad nauseum Tendrils confirmed, though. You got it. If I tutored up Lion Sash, they wouldn't have been able to take that line. Oh yeah, they could, because they had 2 Infernal Tutors. Never mind. No, they were safe. Opponent said in the chat, sorry for being slow, it's their first time playing the deck. I can tell, it's okay. Learn when you have a chess clock, don't subject your local metagame to that. Surgical Extraction is good against Ad nauseum Tendrils. It's not good against the Epic Storm, so make sure you know the difference between your Storm decks. Epic Storm doesn't play Past in Flames, Ad nauseum Tendrils does. Flusterstorm, obviously good. I do like Pyroblast. Beating up on their cantrips can help make their hands worse. Cards that are not good. Back to basics. Swords to Plowshares. Dress down. And I gotta cut one more, probably a Prismatic Ending. Like their deck does have Wishclaw Talisman in it. They might have Defense Grid, but I can still get a lot thinner on permanent removal. I have Teferi if I need to bounce a permanent. I have 5 forces if I need to like force a defense grid on the way down or something. So Prismatic Ending's pretty low impact. It does cover random BS. Like I don't have to decide whether I want to leave in answers for Xantid Swarm or Defense Grid, because Ending does both. Also answers Carpet of Flowers. Just, Ending is so good for white decks. I like Meltdown versus the Epic Storm, but I don't like it versus Ad nauseum. Epic Storm tends to amass artifacts in play as future resources, like Wishclaw Talismans and Mox Opals and stuff. Ad nauseum's gonna pop off all at once. I'm in. Let's do this. On the play, I have Force of Negation and Brainstorm. I'm gonna keep this. It's not like, hell yeah, we did it, but I have turn 0 interaction and a Brainstorm to fix my hand afterwards. Thoughtseize. Now I have some choices. I could Thoughtseize in response, hide the Force of Negation, or I could let it resolve like last game, and I'm actually just gonna let it happen. I think that an experienced Storm player would take Brainstorm here, but my opponent being new to the deck, they took the Force of Will last game, and then they took Force of Negation this game too, and I'm going to lean into that. Generally, Storm players want to have perfect information rather than take the best card. Like, it's more valuable to them that they know exactly what's going on than that they take the counterspell now. Like I've seen 4 new cards since the last time my opponent checked my hand right now, and that should be scary to them. They don't know I drew 4 lands in those 4 cards, or 3 lands into Teferi, but they got to think about it. They pondered and did not shuffle, and then preordained top bottom. Okay. I'm going to shuffle away these lands, obviously, and get Volcanic Island. Don't need more lands right now. I'd love to see Force of Will right now. Ooh, Pyroblast. Would have liked that last turn when they did all that cantripping. I could just slam Teferi, though I think leaving up Snapcaster Brainstorm is better. Also representing a lot of stuff. They've seen Force of Negation now, and I'm holding up Hardcast version. Okay, they're just passing the turn. I am going to do a little sloppy end step Snap Brainstorm here. Naturally, I would rather shuffle away the Brainstorm cards, but getting on board, starting to do damage. This is +1 card anyway. Oh, that was a good spread of cards. I'm going to... I guess I'm drawing all these cards anyway, because my plan is to play and activate Teferi. If I put back Ponder and Arid Mesa, then I get to draw. Arid Mesa can get the basic mountain in the deck. I'm going to bounce my Snapcaster Mage. After I attack for 2, of course. But now I have Force of Will, Red Blast, and Surgical Extraction, and Snapcaster Mage is ready to reload next turn. I wish I could Ponder here, but Arid Mesa literally doesn't fetch a blue source. The only Tundra in the deck's in play. And also I want to hold up this Red Blast. Echoing Truth, my Teferi. Interesting. Now let's not play that game. I was pretty much priced into pointing Pyroblast at anything it could target. Like, that's what I left up mana to do, and I don't want to leave up mana much longer. Okay, most Lion's Eye Diamond lines get punished by Surgical Extraction, so I hope we're able to do this. Well, I have Force of Will and Surgical. It's going to be a big ask for them to get through this. Oh, Boseiju Who Endures. Neat. Well, I'm going to force this, and then the game will end. We're just hellbent with nothing going on. Don't think anything changes on player draw. We saw Boseiju, but that doesn't change much. I do only have one of each dual land my deck plays, so Boseiju could take me off a color in a weird situation, but I'm not worried about that. I also don't have a Null Rod or Rest in Peace or any such thing in my deck. Lion Sash is the closest thing to a hate piece that I have that Boseiju interacts with. Alright, not bad. This hand is okay. I'm going to keep it. Like we saw in the last 2 games, though, I would rather have a Brainstorm in my opening hand than a Force, because my opponent's been pretty willing to just strip the Force and leave me with Brainstorm to clean up afterwards, and it's not what is going on this time. They did mull to 5, though. That's going to be a lot to ask. I'm not going to 2-for-1 myself to hide the information. Go ahead, duress me. I have 2 0-mana interactive spells. What they take will tell me about what their hand does. They took the Force and not the Surgical, which means that they're more worried about that. I'm going to shuffle this, even though shuffling shows weakness, where, like, if I just keep the Ponder, then they're worried. But those cards just weren't good. And some things are more important than a bluff. Which, like, actually winning the game is more important than bluffing, believe it or not. Brainstormed, had a land. Thoughtseize. I don't really want to just rip the Brainstorms out of their deck. That seems kind of random compared to, like, Narset's actually a good card. Yeah, okay. I'll let Thoughtseize resolve. They took Narset. Okay, they're continuing to ignore the graveyard hate, which is worrisome to me, but they are playing on pretty low resources over there. I'm thinking really hard about whether I want to fetch Basic Plains and leave Volcanic Island available, or get Tundra and leave Basic Mountain available. Basic Mountain sucks ass. Okay, I'm going to try not to get my Basic Mountain if I don't have to. I'm going to slam a Stoneforge Mystic and get to work. And do I want to put the boots to them with Cauldra, just try to get this game over? Or Lion Slash? But they have ignored my graveyard hate so far. I'm just getting the boots in. Trying to think of how they win with 3 cards in their hand. Like, Ritual, Ad Nauseam are like the best 3 cards they could have in their hand. Like, most low resource lines like this involve Past in Flames, which I do have at least temporarily covered. Ponder didn't shuffle into another Ponder. Okay. I'd really love to draw a Brainstorm or Flusterstorm. Just some Storm deck. I want to be the Storm deck. Give me a Storm card. Oh, Snapcaster is really interesting. I'm not going to snap Ponder when I can just slam this Cauldra down. Like I said, Ad Nauseam's the best thing that they can do on low resources, while I have the graveyard under control with Surgical. Just trying to pinch their outs. I can't stop them either way, but I can constrict them in 2 different ways right now. Surgical Extraction for the Past in Flames, Cauldra for the Ad Nauseam. Okay, they're passing priority. All right, we're getting another turn. Nice. That feels good. Drawing Ponder feels good too. Give me that Ponder. Yeah, Flusterstorm. F yeah, Flusterstorm in the hand. I'm going to attack them for 6, which is half their life total. They're dead on board. It's now or never. They have to beat Flusterstorm and Surgical Extraction. Or Surgical Snap Surgical is another line that's available. Alright, Storm is 1. Wishclaw Talisman. Yep, can't counter that. LED. Okay. Activating Talisman. Floating green. Oh, do they have Ave? Is that what's happening to me? Okay. This is cool. I'm gonna have to beat some big creatures, I guess. Alright, yeah, that was well done. They knew about the Surgical, and they are just ignoring the Flusterstorm. That's tight. I like it. And the Swords of Plowshares are not in my deck, obviously. Though, this mountain of Stoneforge Mystics that I've drawn this game is good, because Cauldron and Batterskull beat what they have presented here. I will draw the mountain, and then use Stoneforge Mystic to shuffle away the other Stoneforge Mystic. That's not a card I need 3 of, but I can get Batterskull and immediately put it into play with the other Stoneforge. Okay. They're willing to concede to that. They went all in on a not quite lethal creature line. And that's what I was talking about those low resource games, like the Mull to 5 and then not really pulling ahead. Reduce their life total so they can't add Nas. They saw the Surgical, so they can't Past in Flames. They had to go for Ave, which is just smaller than my creatures. That worked out pretty well. Opponent, if you're watching this, you probably want to think about taking Brainstorm with early duress effects rather than Force, because I can just Brainstorm into a different Force and you lose all the information you earned. Storm players out there, take note. On to the next round. I'm on the draw in round 2. Opponent's already in Mull to 6. I'm going to keep this. This is the test. Is Stoneforge Mystic a magic card that can win a game on its own? I got lands to cast it, force to protect it. Let go. Ponder, okay. Volcanic Island Ponder. Could be Delver, could be Show and Tell, could be the Epic Storm. Volcanic Island Ponder doesn't narrow down a whole lot, unfortunately. I'd love to see my own Ponder here. Versus. That was the card I wanted to draw, probably least in my entire deck. I'm going to play Vista and Paths. Yeah, I played around the Wasteland. Get wrecked, nerd. Do I want to F with Dragon's Rage Channeler? No? Alright. I'll let Batterskull handle that. I'm just going to fetch now because I'm just jamming Stoneforge Mystic this turn unless I draw a removal spell, and sending a land out of the deck before the draw step doesn't hurt. It didn't help either, though. Fuck your days. I unfortunately kind of have to Force of Will a daze here, which is not really where I want to be. Broke my own rules here. Played straight into daze. My opponent's on low resource, not really affecting my life total that much. Yeah, I should have done better. Ooh, is this a Lion Sash game? Like, if they just Lightning Bolt my Stoneforge Mystic, I'm gonna really wish I had Lion Sash around. Yeah, let's go. Soft pivot. Little Lion Sash action. If they don't Lightning Bolt my Stoneforge Mystic... Okay, good. Good. That would have felt pretty bad. You have to figure that one out. They just passed the turn, and I'm like, okay, activate Stoneforge Mystic. Do not put Cauldron. Got myself a Plains, play my Sash. Oh, they had the Force. Brutal. Okay. They must have just found it, because Stoneforge... I guess, I don't know. That was weird. I guess with Lightning Bolt, they don't need to fight over Stoneforge. It's one of the problems with Stoneforge. All right, what's your last card in hand? Is it the Murktide Regent? Please don't be. Come on to Fairy. I'll take a Swords to Plowshares as well. There is one basic mountain left in my deck that Arid Mesa can fetch. Literally all of my fetchables are in my hand except for that one. I'm going to plow in their upkeep. If their last card in hand is Force and Negation, I want them to spend their own mana to cast it, not just easily on my turn. Alright. They're going to tap out a Force mana, I'll just shred. Okay, we're both top decking, but I have higher resources to start with. Like, I have more cards in hand. Oh, we got a little Brazen Bee. They just got their foot on the gas. Okay, my deck's full of removal, full of good cards. I need to fade Murktide Regent until I draw a reasonable spell. Brainstorm sets this hand off, as it usually does. Oh yeah, that's my guy. Trying to think of what they even could have. Oh, they have this Wasteland. Guess I should have thought about that a little bit. But I have enough lands. I'll make it work. Yeah, Snapcaster Mage. Okay, yeah, this game is starting to look stable. Now I can even beat a Murktide Regent. Not worried about that. Bouncing to Fairy isn't really a winner's proposition. It just gives me all my loyalty back to bounce the next thing. But if they don't deal with Teferi, then Snapcaster is going to go unchecked. Wasteland in my Tundra, you got it. Okay, there's the Murktide. I'm ready for it now, though. No sweat. Plus Teferi. Guess I should play this. Arid Mesa. I'm at 9 life. They are ignoring the Teferi. That makes sense. Putting me to 1 is a good idea. Birds to Plowshares. Plow your big homie. Iteration's a good one. As far as, last cards in hand go. Not bad. Exile to Brainstorm with that. Cast the Brainstorm. If I can untap with this Force of Will up, I'll feel a lot better. But they do still have a land drop this turn. They could land Bolt, clear out Teferi. Or even worse, like land Dragon's Rage Channeler. Bad for me. Chain Lightning. I don't have red to send it back their way. I have one of the reds. The other's in my hand. Big oof. Do have Force of Will, though, and they're down to 2 cards in hand. I'm not ready to fight over a Delver, not when Murktide Regent's in their deck. I have so many answers to this card. Yeah. Narset. Activate. Prismatic Ending. Yeah, I'll play to the board right now, rather than invest in the future with Brainstorm. Because the Delver threatens the Narset, and the Narset threatens the whole game. If they don't answer it. Alright, Lightning Bolt, you got it. And Bauble. Alright, deal. Good with that. And I'm not going to shuffle the Bauble. That shuffle is too important if I find a Brainstorm. Great. Okay, just attack for 2. I'm going to stop playing lands now. Just really want to pay out Brainstorm when I find one. Iteration. Ugh. Kind of hate to do this, but there we go. Force that. Do you have the Murktide? Did you thread the needle on me? God damn it. Yep, sure did. Alright, Jack. Removal spell. Removal spell. Okay, Ponder. Keep the dream alive. Another Ponder. Oh, this is dangerous. But I'm going to lean in. I'm going to shuffle into lethal on board. I'm at 8. They have an 8 power thing. I have so many answers in my deck. Can I please find one? Alright, we got there. Back to basics, not good. Stoneforge is good next turn. Jace is good now. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Send your Murktide. And attack for 2. They can replay it again as a 3/3 next turn. Hope they don't rip an answer to Jace. Delver might be an answer to Jace. 3/3 Murktide's back. My Lion Sash is already dead. I think I need Batterskull here. Oh, I can just cast Batterskull right now. That's cool. Stoneforge Mystic, yes. Get Batterskull. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast it immediately. I'm going to bounce the Murktide Regent and hope Delver doesn't flip. Oh, okay. They're just done playing the game. They either don't think Delver flipping will be enough, or... I don't know. Like, you bounce... They don't know their top card, right? If Delver flips, kills Jace, this game is a little bit close, because Delver would flip off a spell. Like, if Delver just flips Revealing Lightning Bolt, attack Jace, Bolt Stoneforge, replay Murktide as a 4/4. I don't know. I think there's more game there, but I'll take a win. I like Flusterstorm. I like Jite. Pyroblast. This is one of the matchups that it's expressly for. Cards that are not so good include Force of Negation. And I don't love Force of Will in high numbers, but they showed me that they have 3 basic lands in their list, which makes me think this is like the Daryl Ayers Blood Moon version, which I don't care about, but it does help me understand their list. Dress Down is not a great card against Delver. Like, Force of Will isn't great, but I like having some number in there. Like, fighting over Murktide Regent, or just protecting your Jace for a turn and then digging out of it. I do like all of those. Having that option available once in a while. But you don't need 5 of them. Here's my plan. I like this hand. I'm keeping it. I have Swords to Plowshares, basic Plains, basic Island, and cantrips to keep the game advancing after that point. Let's go. They're not going to trick me into fetching into Stifle, so I'll just jam this Ponder right now. Ponder finding another Ponder and another Teferi. Kind of like all of this. Teferi's the kind of card that the second one usually ends the game. Like the first one, you might have a little fight over, or you bounce a thing, draw a card, they bolt it to clear it. Then the second one is just like nail in the coffin. Ponder, shuffle, pass the turn. This is a really weird play pattern that they've settled into. Do they think they're going to Blood Moon me out of the game? Like, why do you keep a hand that has no 1-drops? Aggressive iteration. Good brainstorm in response here. Yeah, I kind of like doing that while they can't Pyroblast me or meaningfully daze me. I don't need Jute in my hand right now, and Prismatic Vista can also chill. I'm just going to make sure that, like, Stifle doesn't happen. You never know. These are strange times we're living in. They exiled a Delver to iteration. I presume it's about to get cast. Okay, there it is. I imagine they have more than one iteration in their hand, or many counter spells. I'm just trying to think of why they would keep a hand like this, and that makes sense to my brain. Drawing the second plow is great. Now I just get to unload. Ponder. I'm not ready for Jace. Snapcaster is appealing, so is Prismatic Ending. I'm going to take the ending first. I don't really see myself needing to shuffle. There's no Ragavan anymore. I don't think I'm going to need to plow as an instant, but in case I do end up shuffling my deck this turn, I'd rather have ending and then draw snap next turn, or not draw snap. Yeah, now they're paying out this slow hand. The second iteration that once they didn't do anything for 2 turns, I assume they had. Oh, now we're just cooking up. Okay, I see the plan here. I'm going to draw a Snapcaster Mage. And I've got some choices here. I could shuffle my deck, cast Ponder, see what happens. I could put Swords to Plowshare on this deck, see what happens. I could go for Teferi, play around Daze and Pyroblast, make them have Force of Will. Like, this is one of the best chances we're going to get to have Teferi. But if they have Force plus Daze, then Teferi sucks real bad. I think I am going to try a Teferi first. I'm also at 18. I'm not really, like, dead if this Murktide doesn't happen. Okay. I'm going to go for Teferi right now while it hurts them. It's going to be a 2-for-1 if they counter this. Oh, baby. Or sometimes it just resolves. Get out of here. Nice. That felt good. PRC. Lightning Bolt my Teferi. I'm going to let them Surveil. Chuck to Wasteland. I don't really want to fetch Tundra and open myself up to Wasteland here, even though Swords to Plowshares would guaranteed resolve there. I don't think I really need that. I've been sitting on this Prismatic Ending for a minute. This is a good target for it. Doesn't get Pyroblasted. Now I can Ponder, try to hit my land drop. That's good. I'm going to put the Plains in my hand and cast Stoneforge Mystic. If they counter this, I have a card I want on top of the deck. If they don't counter it, I get to do tutor stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to stay cheesy with Lion Sash. Keep the small ball game going. My hand has 4 answers to Murktide Region in it. Like, what's the rush on that? Looks like they're just going to dump out a small Murktide Regent right now just to get it out of their hand before Lion Sash shuts it down. Sure. Now they're holding up Pyroblast, which I don't like. Oh, I have my own Pyroblast. You can't blast my blast. Those are the rules. I'll get my basic mountain, light up their Murktide, and then I can... Okay, they're just conceding. I was about to Stoneforge in Lion Sash so they couldn't eat it. Eat the Murktide Regent, pass the turn with a 2-2. Yeah, there was a lot of game to play, both in Game 1 and Game 2 left here, but my opponent does not want to fart around once they get a little behind, it seems. We'll take it. That looked pretty good. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the draw in round 3, an unfortunate mulligan, but when you play a lot of basic lands, the Island Ponder keep hands diminish because you just have fewer islands. This one I'll keep, send Cauldron to the bottom. Lands and spells, baby. Hope they're not combo. Or, If they are combo, I hope it's the type of combo that's soft to dress down and that they give me 2 turns. Oh god. Not this. Stoneforge Mystic is historically very good against burn, but I am on the draw and not really ready. Force of Will's on the top. That's okay. Okay, I can ponder and try to set up some extra cards off the Goblin Guide, assuming there's a land anywhere in the ponder. Okay. Snapcaster Mage on top. That blocks the Goblin Guide next turn. I get to draw an extra card off the attack. Yikes. Not excited about that. That's going to do more damage to me than I'm ready to absorb right now. I'm going to force it. Yikes. Okay, okay. I get it. Glad I countered one of them at least. Oh, I'm going to pick up the island, then reveal Jace, and take 4. This is getting dicey. One time playing Blue-White Miracles, I had an opponent have turn 1 Goblin Guide, and then I pondered on turn 2, and they just didn't attack. Yeah! They just didn't attack on turn 2 because they didn't want me to draw another card, and then I won the game at 2 life. So you can't be too clever with burn. 1 land. And what's on top of my deck? Ponder. Another ponder. I am going to block. I'll absorb the damage that I'm capable of absorbing. And block one of these. Go to 9. Really wish I had a Swords to Plowshares to go with that. I'm drawing ponder right now. I need to start removing these creatures. Brainstorm is actually really good. Though with the cards on top of my deck, I think I want to shuffle then Brainstorm. I did just kind of bet on white here. There's just no dual lands in the deck. Jeez. That's probably the game. I needed a Swords to Plowshares out of this mix. And now I am deceased. I'm going to go to 4. They have 3 cards in their hand. I got a grip full of fetch lands. Oh, land. That'll teach you. I'm going to die with so many cards in my hand, you sucker. Okay. Exquisite Firecraft. Completely counterable. I simply don't have a counter for it. Alright, this is a matchup where I need Stoneforge Mystic and removal. And that was not the half of the deck I drew this time. I like Flusterstorm. I like Umezawa's Jitte. And not a whole lot more to mess around with here. Back to Basics comes out. I like all the creature removal. Dress Down doesn't do a lot. Dress Down could help me like maneuver through a Eidolon of the Great Revel or something, but it's a pretty low impact card. Taking the haste off of a Goblin Guide in the mid game, but yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Are any of these cards just embarrassingly heinous? Like I could bring in Containment Priest just as a 2/2 body to trade with Goblin Guides and Eidolons. If there are cards left in the deck that are just really embarrassingly bad. And I don't think that there are. Jace isn't, like, really awe-inspiring in a matchup this fast, but it's better than Containment Priest. Okay, let's do it. Let's draw some white cards this game. The thing about Azorius control decks in Legacy is that there are white cards in the deck, and there are blue cards in the deck. And some matchups are white card matchups, and some are blue card matchups. Sometimes you die against Delver with 4 counterspells in your hand, and sometimes you die against Burn with 0 white cards in your hand, or you die to Storm with 4 plows in your hand. Yeah, this is a keep. This is the half of the deck I'm looking for. And I am just going to fetch my Tundra immediately. I don't care about Price of Progress. I don't have that many non-basics in my deck. And I'm going to let them attack. Get my trigger. Swords to Plowshares on top of my deck. I'm still going to plow this thing. I don't want to draw a second plow. Or I'm not going to lose 2 life to draw a second plow. I want to get my Stoneforge Mystic in ASAP. Prismatic Vista, become a basic island. And Stoneforge Mystic, get yourself a Batterskull. Let's hope they weren't ready for that. They didn't see any Stoneforge related activities in game 1. Hoping to dodge the Smash to Smithereens here. Yeah, just having to Chain Lightning my 2-drop instead of my face. I'm okay with that deal. And Suspend Rift Bolt. Teferi off the top, come on. 3 life in the can? Nope. Brainstorm. Some forces, some lands. I neither hate nor love this spread of cards. I'm gonna shuffle and ponder. Another Force of Will, another land. Eventually I want to cast this Batterskull. Therefore, I'm going to keep this spread. Don't shuffle the library. I can take 3 off Rift Bolt. I want to fight over repeatable sources of damage. Like where it's turn 3 and I'm just taking my second Lightning Bolt's worth of damage. That's a pretty good conversion rate. This is the kind of thing you're holding off for. And I can Brainstorm or I can hold up Force. I know Ponder's on top of the deck. I'd really like my 5th land to slam Batterskull next turn. Okay, if I Brainstorm into the land, I'm going to just... Okay, I'm going to go for it. Please land, please land, please land. Shit. Jace is good, though. Put back Batterskull and Ponder. Yeah, I'm going to let Eidolon resolve. And then I'm going to plow it. And then jam Jace and start doing stuff. I'm going to plow the Eidolon. I take 2 for that. I'm drawing Ponder, which turns on my Force of Will, so I get to play Jace and hopefully protect it for a turn. And I'm going to plus on them. I know my top card is Batterskull and I want it. I just want to get Jace out of easy Lightning Bolt range. And then I can start Brainstorming next turn and get this Batterskull down. I will put Lightning Bolt on the bottom. Which is like kind of silly because their whole deck is Lightning Bolts, but if I can gum up the works with like make them draw land where they don't want it, or like find them a spot where their hand is inefficient and they can't double spell. Like that's what I'm really looking for. Okay. Put back Prismatic Ending and Swords of Plowshares. Hurts to chuck a plow, but I have to get Batterskull in. All right, Batterskull with Force back up. I'm at 8. They have 2 cards in hand. L, F, G. Oh, I'm at 7. I just fetched. That's right. Gotta watch out for Exquisite Firecraft here. Fire Blast. Yeah, I'm gonna force this. Because if that resolves, the Exquisite Firecraft in their hand kills me. But I can counter that one. Alright, what's left? 1 card left. Either this Batterskull's gonna connect and end the game, or they have some sort of answer right now. Yeah, just passing the turn with 2 red floating. I'm gonna attack before I do anything with Jace. I don't know what kind of game I need to play yet. Like, am I in a Brainstorm game or a Fate Seal game? It's probably a Brainstorm game regardless, if I'm being honest. I'm at 10. Yeah, it's a Brainstorm game. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm feeling good about this one now. I think we're over the necessary hump. I'm going to snap Brainstorm in the end step. I'm just pulling ahead on cards, pushing my damage advantage now. I know that 2 of these 3 cards are lands, and that's okay. I did just leave my shields down to removal on Batterskull, though. Like, when I cast the Brainstorm, I won't be able to pick up Batterskull anymore. Just hope they didn't top deck Smash and Smithereens this turn. Brainstorm found the 2 lands again. Keep the fetch land. Alright, and then they conceded after that. Okay. They just wanted to see me cast Brainstorm one more time, I guess. Now the Smash to Smithereens are going to be in the answers to Batterskull, that sort of stuff, the Roiling Vortex. Any of that wasn't in their deck already is in their deck now. I don't think it changes my plan at all. Just saying, those are things to think about now that we didn't have to worry about a whole lot Game 2 because they didn't see artifacts in Game 1. But now they're definitely going to have that stuff. I'm going to keep this hand just a wall of interaction. All right, never one to disappoint with the Goblin Guide. How'd we do? Blooded Strand picked it up. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to plow now rather than getting cute. Like I could go to discard to try to pick up another card, and plowing now is like the same thing as that. So just nah. I have plow for that too. I want to save Force for like really important things. Plow that. And then yes, Ponder. Flusterstorm, Brainstorm, Prismatic Ending. I do kind of like this spread of cards here. I'm going to put Flusterstorm 3rd down. I can Brainstorm into it if I need it. And the Force is going to pitch Jace if I cast Force this turn. Swift Spear, okay. Prismatic Ending is on top of my deck. Another one. Maybe I'm supposed to force the second one. I actually don't have a good answer to it lined up. Okay, I'm going to Brainstorm. See if I can find another white card. Oh, yeah. Okay. For a second, I was like, oh, no. I don't actually have another white source in the deck, but there is another basic Plains. I can... Yeah, Lion Sash is not what I want. And I guess I have to send this Scalding Tarn. just like priced into it with what's going on with my hand right now. Yeah, so the game plan from here is kill these two creatures, force of will whatever I need to force of will to get Batterskull into play. Ending, get them out. I'm at 13, and they're down to 4 cards in their hand. I'm not going to fight over that because Batterskull will answer it. Lava Spike. 2 cards left in their hand. This interaction puts me to 8. Okay, fine. I'm letting this happen. I'm going to cast Stoneforge next turn with Flusterstorm and Force of Will back up to try to get my Batterskull through. Maybe forcing Swift Spear was the play. Okay, another force is nice. Found the Queen, Stoneforge Mystic, she's here. Find Batterskull, protect. Alright, double force, double blue card in my hand to go with the game-winning spell. I just have to survive the 3 cards that are currently in their hand. Opponent's gonna gain life this turn. That's a no. Pitch my Jace to make that happen. Fortunately, I have to go to 5. Take my hit from this, but this is the last time that's gonna hit me because I have Batterskull looming. And I can fluster Smash to Smithereens. Okay, now I have Force Blue card and Flusterstorm protecting my Batterskull. Hope for the best here. No attack. End step, put in Batterskull, and Moment of Truth. Can very cleanly fluster a Smash to Smithereens here. I won the fight over the Roiling Vortex, which was their other answer to Batterskull. Like we're just in my turn. Guess I play this land. Yeah, playing out the land lets me have 3 mana to pick up Batterskull. Like if they do try to Smash to Smithereens it, I can just return it to my hand, which fizzles the spell and resets the Batterskull. Oh, we're just flinging dirt at this point. I think I fluster this. Yeah. If they're trying to just like cheese over the finish line, in spite of my Batterskull, I'm just gonna pick it apart. I don't think I would have flustered here if I didn't also have the force to back it up, but I do. I'm gonna get pushy. Roiling Vortex. I have the Force of Will for that as well. Second Batterskull connection. Hopefully will get me out of range of anything reasonable. I can snap plow my own germ to gain another 4 life if I need to do that. I can't snap fluster right now. I don't have 2 blue mana, but there are Swords of Plowshares in my graveyard I can play with. They have Vortex, so it's Firecraft targeting my germ token. Yeah, sure. Deal. I'll just pick that up and replay it. I could snap plow the germ in response, but I think just picking it up is better. Alright, yeah, happens. Get to attack for 2 here, whatever. Yeah, just pick that up. If I draw a land, it'll be disappointing, because I could have just re-equipped. Oh, nope, we're good. Force of Negation's pretty exciting. Just another way to protect the Batterskull is a welcome addition to the crew here. We have 1 card in hand, I'm at 10. Yeah, this feels like 2015, 2016 Magic. We're just grinding. Found my blue source. Now Snapcaster Mage is just Demonic Tutor. And I can hardcast Force of Negation if I need to. Was it Firecraft? Targeting my Batterskull again. Sure. I can pick up and bounce all in 1 turn cycle now. Oh, come on, opponent. You should be able to see this. I don't know if my opponent's just never played against Batterskull before, but that was an attack you could make, I guess. I was just going to put Batterskull back in, eat their thing, gain another 4. They're hellbent, and that's the game. Really glad to be a Stoneforge deck specifically if you get paired against Burn, which isn't a really popular deck in Legacy anymore due to Uro and that's effect on the format. But Stoneforge Mystic and Batterskull is the type of hard pivot that control decks need to beat something as redundant as Burn. I'm on the play with a 1-lander, but it does contain Brainstorm and Stoneforge. I'm going to keep it. And I'm just going to play my land and ship the turn. I'm not going to Brainstorm now. Hopefully I just draw a land next turn, play Stoneforge Mystic, and we're off to the races. But if I do need to Brainstorm, I want to get that card deeper after my next draw step and then cast it on my main phase. If that was Ponder, I would have cast it right now to make sure that, or maximize my chances Stoneforge on turn 2, but it's not Ponder. And Brainstorm works different. And turn 2 Stoneforge is not important enough for me to end step Brainstorm. There are some situations where if you have like a card like Null Rod versus Storm or Rest in Peace versus Dredge, that end step Brainstorm to hit the second land is a priority, but Stoneforge Mystic is not that. Here's my Tundra, moment of truth. Easy money. They're a blue deck that went Prismatic Island, Basic Island Ponder. I think that Swords to Plowshares is my least exciting card in the hand right now. This is the type of matchup where having 3 Jaces is supposed to pay off. Search for Azcanta. Oh, baby. No, we can't. Right, I'm going to get Basic Plains. I drew the Plow anyway. I think ending this search for Azcanta is a good idea. That's not a card that's remotely beatable if it flips. Stoneforge Mystic will be a 2-for-1 that gets killed on turn 4, the same as it would be on turn 2, so no rush there. The Fairy, that's a bad one. Force pitching Jace. Okay, that worked. Land Jace? Land Jace? Oh, my very own. Let's dance. Fairy Pants. I'm going to draw a card immediately, try to hit this land drop. Got there. Okay. Countered their Teferi. Landed my own. Let's see what the follow-up is. Like, if they just jam Jace here. Okay. They Teferi'd. But I get to jam Jace here. That's good news. Now we play the game. What do I think this Volcanic Island is for? Are they a Lightning Bolt deck, or are they just splashing red out of the sideboard like me? And I'm going to bet against Lightning Bolt and just Brainstorm with this Jace. Preordain. Okay. They're probably the Hull Breacher, Narset, whatever pile. Plus Teferi, cast Jace, Brainstorm away these Swords to Plowshares that are not going to help me in this game. Yikes. Speaking of not helpful. I mean, it's fine. Like, my hand just juiced up, but that was not the land I was looking for. And I guess Plow's okay because my opponent can't cast Hull Breacher in the end step. Ooh, 4th color. They could exile Jace right now with Prismatic Ending. Oh, damn near killed her. Oh, they're a Nick Fit deck. Yikes. Alright, I've probably lost this game somehow now. Surprise. Okay, what do we got? Ugin? Nicol Bolas? It is Ugin. Ugin just gets to boot my Jace, boot my Teferi, and then the game ends. If I plus Teferi, and then cast Stoneforge, get Aldra, and then Brainstorm. I'm looking for a land here. I'm getting greedy because I have to. And play another Stoneforge, getting Batterskull. Just trying to find the universe where I can pressure this Ugin meaningfully. And I don't think it exists. Bummer. Yeah. That is not the combo pivot that I thought they were going to have. And I'm a mana short of clearing out Ugin with Kaldra next turn. Like, if they -2 to sweep out my Stoneforge Mystics, Ugin goes to... Oh, right. This isn't a 7/7. It's a 5/5 that costs 7. I'm not even close to killing Ugin. Should probably have conceded the game before I showed them the Swords to Plowshares. Or the Stoneforge Mystic. Brainstorm. Well, therapy. All right. I've had enough. Okay. It's a Jeskai Nickfit something or other. We should be able to figure out how to beat this one. Though their top end is not beatable. We do have to constrict them at the low end. Okay. Back to Basics is out. Arena Rector is a death. When it triggers from the graveyard, if I'm able to surgical it, then they don't get the trigger. Pyroblast can win the fight over to Fairy. Dress Down also turns off Rector for a turn. So I don't think that's really the line I'm looking for. Not mega stoked about Force of Negation. Oh, Lion Sash does also clip the Rector from the graveyard. That's good to know. Good to stay aware of. I want to kind of trim on counterspells, but I have to keep some number in because the game will go long and then they'll just start casting Ugins. This is a different problem altogether. The other Dress Down is coming out. Definitely want Pyroblast. Maybe I don't need all 3 Surgicals. Because the card's only good against Rector, probably. And I have Lion Sash that can also fight that fight. Yeah, before I cut another actual good card for Surgical, this is what I'm going to roll with. I'm just thinking about Flusterstorm. versus Cabal Therapy. Like, I have very few 1-for-1 counter spells, and by very few, I mean none. And Cabal Therapy lines up really well against Stoneforge Mystic, even if they're not doing anything particularly cheesy with it. I'm going to cut 2 plows for 2 flusters, because they're not going to give me a chance to plow Rector. I'm going to have to fight that elsewhere. Elseway? Is that even a thing? Another way? Elsewhere? Else how? I'm making up words, but let's get into this game too. I like this start. I'm going to keep it. They're going to pivot into their crazy business in the mid and late game. Just keeping a reasonable opening hand is all you can do in a lot of spots. I'm going to put the land in my hand. I don't want them to see the Flusterstorm, because if they do, just check me with a Cabal Therapy. I don't want them to see Flusterstorm for Cabal Therapy on the back side. And just slamming. Let's go. Shuffles away Jace, but I wasn't really looking for that anyway. And I'm going to get Kaldra. Let's just tighten the screws. I have the turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic on the play. Make them have the answer. If they answer Stoneforge Mystic or they cast Cabal Therapy clearing the Kaldra, I jam Narset. And that's what this deck is built to do. Cabal Therapy resolves. They strip the Kaldra. I jam the Narset. And we go. Oh, Teferi might be better. It's close. I'm going to get my Volcanic Island, just make sure all my colors are present. And I am going for the Narset. Just Narset's effect on a game scales over time. Like every turn they can't draw extra cards, I gain virtual card advantage every time they draw a cantrip they can't cast. And I'm just going to play into that world. I'm going to take Ponder over the repeat Narset. Because hitting my land drops now and pushing my advantage is going to be important to this game. Let's figure out what other creatures they have. Hope they don't have Spirit Guides in their deck. Ending my Narset, yeah, sure. 2 for 1. We take those. And Ponder. Did find the land. I think it's time to just slam Teferi. An attack with Stoneforge, and I'm going to pick Stoneforge back up. This long-term advantage. Like, attacking for 1's not breaking this game open, but getting Lion Sash ahead of their Rector turn might break this game open. Oh, they could just do it all this turn, huh? Yeah, Cabal Therapy's already in the graveyard. Whoops. I may have exposed myself to an Ugin. Please don't have it. Shit. There's the 4th mana. Damn it! I mean, there's nothing that my hand could do about this. I guess the alternative was Snap Ponder, try to hit the Surgical. Yeah. Can I answer Ugin? I don't think I can. Just literally nothing. Okay, yeah. They have a combo kill in their deck, and I don't. My hand started out pretty fair and reasonable, but yeah, Surgical Extraction wins this game, but I didn't have one. Okay. Maybe I should have had all 3 in just to minimize the cheese factor. We'll live in regret when we win this league, losing to Jeskai Nickfit. On to the final round. I'm on the draw in the final round, playing for the 4-1. I got a mulligan this hand. I don't trust my deck to produce an island. I do trust my deck to produce more lands, though. I'm going to keep this and send Kaldra to the bottom. Opponent's also on 6 so far. They're also a fan of the channel. Shout out. What's up? Keep the hand. Ship the Kaldra. First appearance of Back to Basics. First time that card's been in my hand in the entire league, I think. Oh, are we in the matchup that Kevin specifically designed this deck to shit upon? All right, looks like, yeah, we had a pretty aggressive start over there. Can't cast Hull Breacher with that mana. I'm going to Ponder. I do need to hit these land drops now. Opponent's not really giving me time to mess around. Okay, there's a mountain in my hand. Mountain's not really what I wanted. I wanted plains, but I'm not going to shuffle away any land at this point. There's also another Ponder on top of my deck. 1 card left in their hand. Force of Will in mine. Yeah, that's not going to fly around here. Force, pitching, Snapcaster. They can use Lion's Eye Diamond to make a construct. It's actually a pretty good play. I'm going to Ponder first. So if I find the white source... Alright, I did find the white source. Oh, this is interesting, though. Like, I can't stop these 2 constructs from arriving. I can stop or slow down how big they are. This Back to Basics was too slow. On the play, it might have saved me a little bit. But I could Prismatic ending the Chrome Mox and try to slow them down that way. That doesn't seem good though. I could set up ending, snap ending on the 2 constructs. Or I could just set up, I think Stoneforge Mystic is the way to go here. Don't shuffle, play the mountain. I draw the plains next turn. Yeah, they spend their Lion's Eye Diamond to get the first construct, that's a 3/3. The next one's a 4/4, and then the tutor's a 5/5. If they get Retrofit or Foundry, I probably have to ending that. I can see why Kevin wanted 3 meltdowns in this deck. Oh, yikes. That hurts. The follow-up Saga, pretty brutal. Yeah, that mountain is killing me. If I had 2 white mana right now, this game would be pretty reasonable. But as it stands, I do not have that. What do I even do? Brainstorm and hope I hit Dress Down? Even that's not like 8, because then I can't fetch white. If I fetch, play back to basics, I just die. I'm going to Brainstorm. Dress Down is the only Hail Mary I have left. Back to basics. Its usefulness has passed. Ship the Narset. I'm gonna fetch and play Stoneforge. The mountain is even messing up. Oh wait, no, it's not. Next turn I can ending, snap ending. Okay, that's pretty good. I think I need Batterskull just to be alive at all in the future. Yeah, ripping that second Saga off the top. We're actually stable against not Saga. Third Saga, okay, you got it. I gotta do some math. I take 6, go to 6, exile this one and this one, or chump, exile, exile. All right, I guess I have to. Jump. And make another one before damage. I actually go to 5 here. Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, if I exile 2 of these, I'm still dead to the other one. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was a parade of Urza Sagas. If they just drew like Mox Opal for 2 turns instead of, like, if they drew an average or bad card instead of just the best card runner, we would have stabilized that start. I think I also win that game on the play, but yeah, whatever. Okay, meltdowns, this is what they're for. Dress Down, this is what you're for. Pyroblast is good here too. This is some sort of Narcity, probably echoey version. I'm not sure that I actually want back to basics. I like the one in the deck. I don't think I want to add more of them. I don't think Cauldron is actually good. And if I'm down to just 2 equipment, I can shave a Stoneforge. Uh-oh. It looks like Magic Online is struggling to process my sideboard selections, which is a bad time because this is not a match I can win without my sideboard. Come on, old girl. Pull it together. Uh-oh. 10 seconds left. God, oh god. Oh no. Okay. I rebooted and then frantically clicked with the 10 seconds I have left. If the meltdowns are in my deck, we have a chance. Oh, good. Ooh. Jeez. That was not the sideboard plan I would have liked. I think there are 61 cards in my deck and Batterskull's out, Cauldron's in. Oh. But meltdowns are in, which means that we are not ice cold. Gonna Island go here. Also the Void. Guess I should brainstorm in response to that one, huh? Alright, I like Force of Will. I don't want ending because I'm pretty sure my plan to beat Chalice is to melt it down. The problem's going to be red mana, I guess. I'm going to cast Stoneforge Mystic and just cross my fingers about what equipment are actually still in my deck right now. Oh god, I was looking at the meltdown and fetched red. Okay, whatever. I can Force of Will a non-artifact thing and kill everything that's an artifact. Wow, my brain is scrambled from that crash when I needed it most to not crash. Lotus Petal, okay. Sigh. I'm gonna pitch Brainstorm to fight over Sigh. Can't cast Brainstorm with Chalice in play anyway. Another Lotus Petal. Okay. It's Emery. What do we got? Malevolent Hermit. Yikes. That's bad. Guess that means I need to melt down now. Drawing the second meltdown's pretty exciting. Ugh. I hate this. Oh, they need blue mana to activate Hermit. I misclicking on that land fetch hurts. Okay, Chrome Mox gives them blue mana for the Hermit. Can clear the Hermit out this turn. Not proud of this one. Here's Meltdown. Yep, Hermit counters that. It's fine. Cauldron would just like already be in play right now, beating down. Let's hope the second Meltdown just breaks this game. Here's Shadow Spear and Benevolent Geist. Their non-creature spells can't be countered. Got it. One card left in their hand. This Meltdown is gonna smush. I would really like to draw a white land this turn to also follow up with Stoneforge. That's not it. Okay. Fuck your board. Unfortunately, I am just like really far behind. I guess a land stabilizes this board. I can either exile this ghost or try to push through it or bounce it with Jace. Come on, deck. Ugh, not like this. Put back Cauldron and one of the Stoneforge Mystics. And then I'm going to ponder and shuffle. Yeah. White land, come on. Attacking me down to 7. Come on, deck. Time for a land. All right, Jesus. Sweet, merciful deities. I should leave up red and at least represent a counterspell, but I guess they don't need to worry about that. If it do put into a graveyard from anywhere, so bouncing this makes it become Malevolent Hermit again. I still want to bounce it. They don't have blue mana at current. All right, Lion's Eye Diamond. What is this shit? Each player. Oh, it's the weird, different Equivalents. Oh, cool. They get to Benevolent Geist, and they had enough mana to Benevolent Geist and then also Memory that can't be countered. Yeah, sure. That's cool. Unfortunately, that does reload their hand when they were Hellbent, and I was doing okay over here, but me having a new hand is pretty cool too. So they are in full, just like you can't counter shit crazy Geist mode. And I did not find a red blast. Oh, right, they're not in my deck because I didn't sideboard. Right. It's all coming together. Okay, they stuck Chalice and spun another Echo. Another 7 cards in their hand. Okay, here we are. Plus Teferi. Oh, Batterskull is still in my deck? What is in my sideboard? What did I board out? I don't even know what's going on right now. Lion Sash is not helpful. Second Teferi, bounce, play Stoneforge. Literally all of my equipment are in my hand right now. So Stoneforge is not a play I can make. Could just tap 5 mana, cast Batterskull, go. Ugh. Don't like this. Okay, here's Batterskull. I can't cast Plow, which is the card I would cast if I could cast cards. And Lion Sash doesn't help me. They just spun their graveyard away twice. The Fairy gets hit. They're at 4. They've been tapping their Ancient Tombs a lot. Not going to matter if they just like nut up with Psy right now. But Batterskull, even if it does get chumped by Thopters indefinitely, gaining 4 life will buy me the time to find those Meltdowns again. Both Meltdowns are back in my deck. Oh. Return target artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Okay. Otawara, the Soaring City. Okay. Batterskull is not a thing anymore. That's pretty cool. Oh no, they have blue mana now, 2 of it. They're going to 2, tapping their Ancient Tomb. Yeah, Psy is a good thing to go to 2 for. Oh, no? Nothing else? Alright. Oh, Narset is not a bad card. What if I start with Teferi and see what happens? I can bounce Chalice, exile. There's not another Plains in my deck. I only have blue mana available right now. I could just play Narset and hope I don't die. I could bounce the Geist. Okay, I can actually... Oh no, because I have to bounce Chalice if I'm going to cast Plow. I can bounce Chalice, Plow Geist, and then hope to draw Meltdown against Psy. I'm actually going to do that. Bounce Chalice. Oh, that frees my Ponder. Give me Ponder. Force of Negation. Do I want that? Do I want to follow it up with Jace's? I don't think I want any of this. Shuffle it. Press down is good. And Plow Geist. I think plowing Geist is more important than plowing Psy. Because I can Narset rip for Meltdown next turn. And that is actually like a line to winning the game. Lion's Eye Diamond. Yikes. They either just drew that or they were playing around Meltdown last turn by not playing any artifacts out after the Sai. There's 7 cards in hand. It seems unlikely they don't have any artifacts. Hermes. Alice on 1 is back. Okay. Oh, this Hermit kind of has me checkmated unless I just straight up draw Meltdown. Normally, Teferi, or I guess they're about to attack Teferi anyway, that doesn't matter. If I draw a land, I can just turn sideways with Kaldra. Yeah, their life total is really low. Yeah, if Sai attacks Teferi this turn, they actually have to lose their entire board to not die to Kaldra if I draw a land. There's a lot of ifs here. Oh, ignoring Teferi, just coming for my face. Bold. Oh, because Hermit can counter... Yeah, Hermit can counter Kaldra. What am I even saying? God, this Hermit is breaking my brain. Card is really good. Ooh, I could just exile it and then see what happens. If I exile Hermit, does that even help? Does that do anything? What if I exile Chalice? Will they try to fight me? 1, 2, 3. If I crack this fetch land, I lose. God, having all my equipment in hand with Stoneforge is some shit. Big steamy shit. Lion Sash. Oh, Lion Sash can block. A chump block with Lion Sash is a line that's available to me. Okay. Prismatic Ending, target Malevolent Hermit. That is both the biggest creature in play and the one that is disrupting all my other things I could do. Okay, I'm going to play Lion Sash. Or, wait, Stoneforge Mystic is a 1-2 compared to the 1-1 that will just die. Okay, Stoneforge Mystic is better than Lion Sash. No equipment to search for. This also threatens Kaldra next turn. Yeah, this is actually kind of a big turn. If they have, like, any bounce spell, but I don't have to respond to a bounce spell. A bounce spell gives me a redraw to Meltdown again, which is all I'm looking for. And Stoneforge can bounce off of Sai, absorb that damage, and then Kaldra for the cheese. That hurts. How'd we do? Am I dead? Am I getting echoed? Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay. I was getting echoed. I was getting echoed anyway. Yeah, there's an echo right there. Oh, they control Zed. They changed their mind. Yeah, I can't even dress down and... Yeah, I can't even dress down and hope to hit Force of Will here because the fetch plus the force leaves me dead to their 2 Thopters. Just really out of options here. They seem to be unsure what they want to do, though. Oh, they're going to play Sappers and Scary is the answer. Okay, I think I'd rather have my 1 mystery card than try to dress down here. I'm still not dead on board. I mean, obviously they just drew 7 cards, but I'm not dead on board. I can just equip Stoneforge Mystic with Batterskull and attack. If they have blue mana up, they can block with a Thopter and sack it to Sai and stifle the lifelink. This is getting unfortunate for me. And remember, we're playing this game just like with a 61 card wrong sideboard deck because Moto crashed. I am going to file for compensation for this league, but we're trying to make it work, trying to draw out that game 3. Some Pyroblast would have gone a long way in this matchup. Uh-oh, there's Hull Breacher. Things are getting worse. Okay, we're moving into combat. They continuing to pressure my face? Yes. Alright, that is the correct place, I believe. Time to draw the Meltdown. Even that probably isn't good enough at this point, but I would like it still. Days Undoing. Okay, that ends the turn. And because they already Narsetted me once, they don't get to breach me now. My own Narset? Oh, God. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could gain 5 life and have this creature in play. They don't have blue mana right now. Blessing Teferi is definitely the play. I think I need to equip Batterskull and Crunch. They get to block. I gain the... Go to 5. Alright. Just going. And I am going to attack their face. They're at 2. I want to force this block in a meaningful way, not just, you know, let them decide if they care about their Planeswalker or not. They also have Hull Breacher, so it's not like killing Narset even stabilizes this board. Okay, I'm at 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If they can bounce my Stoneforge Mystic, they have me dead for Xaxes. We haven't seen a card that does that in their deck yet. They have a fresh 7, and they're activating Narset, and they had a draw step. So they got 9 cards to work with here. Ox Opal, sure. Another one. Or a Lion's Eye Diamond this time. This is the diamond that we just saw them take off Narset. If they wheel me this turn, they will get the complete Hull Breacher party. There's 2 Echoes and a Day's Undoing in exile, and the Memory. To assume there are 2 more Echoes in this deck. I don't think you play the Commit to Memory until you have all 4 Echoes represented. There's an Undoing. They cast it the turn ends, which gives me another turn, even though, like, really, I'm a meltdown away from somehow still just doing it here. Teferi has really held the fort. I think they should attack and kill Teferi, and then Day's Undoing. At least with the information I know. Like, those other cards in the hand might do other things. Chalice on 1, double up on that. Okay. None of this affects my meltdown plan. Should take out Teferi here. Okay, yeah. They've realized that that is the most dangerous thing left. Oh, they're just putting 1 damage on Teferi. That's good for me. Yeah, that's fine. That's keeping me from bouncing, but I can't draw extra cards anyway. Like, I don't care about bouncing anything. The only thing that matters is drawing Meltdown. All right, deck, let's go. I can plus Teferi, and then I can cast Narset, and minus and find the Meltdown. This is the play. This is the way. Let's go. Meltdown! Meltdown! Top 4 cards, Meltdown! Swords of Plowshares, damn it. That's not what I wanted. Attack my opponent again. Now they can do the Psy trick so I don't gain any life. Yeah, I really needed to find Meltdown there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is not a lethal attack. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm still at 1. Oh no, I'm at 5. Oh yeah, they attacked me for 2 last turn. Yeah, they did find the lethal attack. Okay, we're dead. A well-fought game. They gave me the window for that Meltdown on the last turn. It didn't pay out. A disappointing circumstance at the end there, not actually getting to sideboard against the matchup that we specifically kind of built the sideboard for. I think that 2 Meltdowns is plenty if you can back them up with your Pyroblasts and, you know, your Dress Downs and your cards that matter. But we didn't get to do that. We saw how bad the matchup is, though. It is nice that Kevin built the deck so hatefully against 8 cast or like Artifact Saga decks. And we actually got paired into one. The artifact half of the deck wasn't that important. Like, we did melt them down. We cleared all that out. It was the Blue Planeswalkers, Hull Breachers, Echo side of the deck that really put us in the earth. And I'm not going to keep beating this dead horse, but, you know, the Pyroblasts were not in my deck, which is how we fight that sort of style of plan. 2 Meltdowns, I think, is plenty, though. We got cantrips, we got Narsets, we have control elements to drag the game out until Meltdown is good. Dress Down buys a bunch of time against Saga as well. I don't think you need 3 Meltdowns in your deck. If your local metagame is just some outrageous number of blue Saga or Urza Saga decks, Artifact decks, 8 cast, whatever, go ahead, play 3 Meltdowns, play 4, whatever. If you don't want to lose to that deck, you don't have to. I think that 2 is plenty, though, among the toolbox that we have, and in the range of matchups you can reasonably expect throughout a Legacy tournament. Lion Sash was pretty cool. It never actually got to just go nuts, but it did give me something to do with my mana when I was pretty certain Stoneforge Mystic would die. We had at least one opponent just concede when I got the Lion Sash. Like, the Delver player, I like bounced their Murktide region, and then Lion Sash was revealed somehow, whether Stoneforge or however they knew it was coming, and they conceded because they knew their Murktide was never coming down again. It was nice to have some action off of Stoneforge Mystic other than just float Batterskull or Cauldron in hand and hope to draw a Brainstorm. Did like that. Back to Basics never came up in the league. In the final round, if we were on the play, I think Back to Basics would have stabilized that game for me, but we were on the draw, so it was a turn too slow. I did like the regular access to Jace. Like, anytime that I had 4 mana in a stable board, I feel like I was putting Jace on the stack. Feels really good. I'm used to playing 1 or 0 Jace in my Uro decks, and the non-Uro decks really need that card advantage engine, something to do with their mana in the late game, and Jace is the answer to that. I do like that number. Cosign officially 3 Jace in a list like this. And those are my thoughts. Jeskai Stoneblade. It has the tools. A lot of other Jeskai decks have combo kills in them, and you have a kind of aggressive, grindy, like possibly aggressive, possibly grindy, depending on how your opponent reacts, plan in the deck instead of a combo kill. Like, we don't have Hull Breacher and Days Undoing. We got kind of a weird taste of that with the Nick Fit deck, where it's like, okay, we 1 for 1, we 2 for 1, we 1 for 1, and then they just like X for 1 you with an unbeatable permanent. You could put something like Council's Judgment or Unexpectedly Absent, or, you know, there are white cards that answer Ugins. We just aren't playing them today. If that's part of your metagame, then respect it, but I would not build my deck with Jeskai Rector Fit in mind. I'm going to wrap this up. Kevin, thanks for the deck. Everyone else, thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. I do like returning to Stoneforge Mystic once in a while, see if it's playable again. And this actually felt like the best version of Stoneforge Mystic I've played in quite some time. This is a shell worth exploring. Lion Sash still needs some more testing in these shells, but that felt good. It was a fun league, and I'll see you all for the next one.